Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. I started 5 minutes early because I'm bored. I'm bored, so I started early. Oh my gosh, Bill had such an amazing stream last night. It was so good. It was the best. He had Fozzie and Linus on interviewing him. Oh my gosh, it was such a good stream. Shut in, I can't figure it out. But if you keep talking, I will figure it out. Oh, girl. Nope. Oh, no, are you Snoopy? Snoopy! Are you Snoopy? You're Snoopy, aren't you? How are you feeling? Someone tell me who Shut-in is. I think it's Snoopy. I don't think it's Bren. Linus, you were awesome last night. And you were awesome on Bill's stream, too. Maria! Hi, Maria. Okay, Rebecca, that's insane. Give me the cold. I do not want that. Give me give me the cold. I know that's an unpopular opinion because apparently most of my viewers are down south. But hi, Mary. How are you? I'm glad you made it at the beginning. Okay, we took a poll. We took a poll and we decided as a group to do another case. So her name's Karen. Isn't that great? Her name is Karen. Now we know what we're into. It's not going to be pretty. Different judge though. Now, just because it was longer than 2 minutes does not mean you didn't have enough time. All right, let's just get to it. Let's jump in with both feet, eyes wide open.
This is the matter of Ravello versus Sangalaza, D 18572-482C and R 18205-416R.
I got pineapple. I got pineapple. Oh, you can't see because of the green screen. This is a piece of pineapple. I got a whole bunch to get me through this.
The parties are present. Counsel, your appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Lytle, 11640, on behalf of plaintiff Nicholas Ravello, who is present.
Pamela Lawson, bar number 5044, for Karen Sangaliza, who is present.
Good morning. This is on for case management conference. Return from FMC. Everybody have a seat. And for mom's motion for temporary orders, dad's opposition and counter motion, and mom's reply. We'll talk about the case management setting at the end of today and set dates in the future. Counsel, I see that we went to mediation. It looks like an agreement was not reached. Mr. Lytle, do I have a financial disclosure form from your client? I don't see
I
it.
just got the hard copy from him today. He was waiting on some records from Wisconsin, and so
Okay.
we'll be filing that this afternoon.
All right, so my order regarding his financial disclosure form is that it be filed within a week of today's hearing date. Mom, this is your motion for temporary orders. It looks like, is Julian 4 months old? Is my math right? All right, Ms. Lawson, go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor. We set forth pretty much everything in our written papers, and so I won't regurgitate it to you, other than I just want to hit the high points of the timeline of this whole matter. Basically, the parties met in May of 2017. My client was employed in 2 jobs, saving money for school. She is a college student with 2 semesters left to finish to get her degree. She's also planning on going to graduate school, probably law school. Not long after she met the plaintiff, she became pregnant. Shortly thereafter, Dad talks Mom into returning to his home in Wisconsin, which is where he was from and where he lives. Mom goes, she quits her job. She becomes, when she's in Wisconsin, she's isolated, her car's not working. She's at home all the time, and he's running around with his friends at night and sleeping all day. Mom reaches out to his mother to try to see if she can talk to him to get him to be a little more responsible. He doesn't work, he doesn't have a job. Mom leaves Dad in December, and she returns home and lives with her parents. She returns to school. She gets a job because she knows it's going to cost some money to get the babies coming. About 2 months later, Dad comes to Las Vegas, and he wants to reconcile with Mom, and he talks to Mom and her parents, and he promises he's going to act responsibly and take care of her. So they try again. In March 9th, the parties lease an apartment. There's 3 parties on that lease. There's Dad, Mom, and Dad's aunt. Dad returns to his irresponsible lifestyle, sleeping all day, going out at night with his friends. The exhibits that we attach show the different times that Mom tried to reach out to his friends, please send him home. He's still partying. Child's born April 25th, 2018. She stays with her parents for a few weeks, and they decide to reconcile, so she goes to the apartment. May, she writes, I guess the parties agree that they're gonna have a schedule for who, because the babies, you know how babies are, they sleep and then they wake up about every 3 hours and wanna eat. So they have a schedule. Dad just can't deal with it alone. He wants Mom there when he has the baby. First incident is that Dad, the baby's crying, Mom's not in the room, baby's crying, and then he stops crying and Mom goes to check, and she sees Dad stuffing the blanket in the baby's mouth. And she says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "It's the only way to keep him from crying." Apparently, I don't know, but apparently Mom doesn't use pacifiers. And he said that's the only way he could keep the baby from crying. A few days later, May 21st, he leaves the baby unattended while Mom's in the restroom. He leaves the baby on the bed, jumps over the balcony, disappears. 21st is a busy day. He later comes back with the police. He wants Mom and the baby out of the apartment. He wants to move back in. Police say she's on the lease, she has a right to be here. He packs a suitcase and he leaves. Same day, he returns in the afternoon with 3 large friends and tells Mom she needs to move out with the baby. She refuses. She calls the police, files a report. May 31st, Mom's father's visiting his daughter and the baby. Dad comes back to the apartment again, tries to get Mom and the baby out. Mom thinks he's acting kind of weird, he might be under the influence of something, and she's starting to become a little bit fearful of him. June 16th, Dad and a friend enter the apartment. Dad packs more clothes, tries again to get Mom to come out, he leaves. Mom applies for child support with the family support center. Dad gets served, he becomes irate. He comes over, he's violently angry, he throws a bowl, just misses her, threatens her with a chair.
Sheets coffee. This coffee that I'm drinking right now they gave me is so strong. It tastes like straight alcohol. This coffee is so strong.
She calls 911. Dad runs to the guest room, I guess it is, and jumps over the balcony. The police intercept him, but since there's no physical damage, they don't arrest him. Mom has not changed the locks. She's never denied him entrance. When he does come to pack his clothes and stuff, he never checks on the baby, never asks about the baby, never asks to hold the baby. All he wants really is Mom out of the apartment. Mom should be awarded temporary primary custody of this child. And Dad's visitation should be supervised, at least initially, till he takes some classes. He's refused any kind of instruction on the care of an infant. He has no job. He's a self-proclaimed gambler that we don't have an FDF, so we don't know what he makes gambling, but she lived with him for a while and she said he loses a lot more than he makes. The visitation should be supervised.
Sounds
That
fun.
is somewhat of
Good
a
times.
age for the child until he learns how to take care of an infant.
Supervised by who, counsel?
Pardon?
Supervised by who?
What,
sorry.
the instruction?
Yeah, no, who should be the supervisor? Who should
Oh,
supervise his
that's-
visitation?
I'm not sure. It's a little bit of a problem. Maybe Donna's house until we find somebody. He doesn't have any family here. He's actually from
Who's his
Wisconsin.
aunt that's on the lease? She doesn't live here?
No, she lives in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
They couldn't rent the apartment without her because nobody has any enough verifiable funds.
Okay, anything else?
We're asking for temporary, or not temporary, primary, preliminary attorney's fees. Mom's paying this herself. She's working, well, right now she's not working, but she's looking for a job. And she has family that will watch the baby when she does get a job. So she can't meet him on an equal plane without some help. I don't know what he's paid his attorney. I know I've reduced the fees tremendously, and she's paying payments. She needed the help. I wanted to provide it, and but it would certainly help in the ways of discovery and evening this, leveling this field, if we could get some preliminary, at least as much as he's paid his lawyer in attorney's fees.
Counsel?
Your Honor, that was a long and detailed and really fantastic story. Unfortunately, most of it is not true. We've also laid out the facts, and I'm not going to belabor them. And what we've done, in contrast to what the defendant in this case has done, is we've actually...
Everybody who has waited 3 days for me to reply to one of your text messages, please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Somebody raise your hand if you have waited 3 days for me to reply to a text message. Now, I'm going to send a text message real quick to Megan, Old Squishy Gardner, Log Talk with Mike. Bill doesn't count. And then we'll see how long it takes them to reply. And then, Fozzie, then we'll talk again.
Actually laid out the defendant's own words, and she is doing exactly what she said she was going to do a couple of months ago. Something snapped the moment this child was born. Everything went off the rails. Up until that point, there was no indication that anything was wrong, and we have serious, serious concerns about mom's mental health. My client has not been arrested or cited.
But that wasn't a replyable text. There was nothing to reply. LOL. Hold on. Okay. LOL. But now I can say, you didn't reply to my text, which was just LOL. So why would you reply to that?
There have been no calls made to CPS or any of these things like that.
Indicate, and they make some allegations about his criminal record, and you indicate he did have a DUI 3 years ago. Is that right? Is 3 years right?
I believe it was about 3 years
Okay,
ago.
but
in
he
Wisconsin,
doesn't have any.
before he ever met the defendant.
They indicated a domestic violence and some other violent criminal record. Is that true?
He did plead no contest about 10 years ago to in a case in Wisconsin, and he was.
What was the nature of that case?
So my understanding is that it was a dispute with his college girlfriend. He was.
So
in
that was
college.
the domestic violence case?
Yep. He was
Okay.
23 years old at the time. He pled no contest. He got no jail time and a year of probation, which he served with no problem, and that was the end of that.
Okay.
As far as this stuffing a blanket in the baby's mouth, that never happened. The one of the true things that was in the story, from what I understand, is that for some reason the defendant has some deep-seated objection to the use of any sort of pacifier with this child, and so the child does occasionally just grab whatever is present and chew on it, because that's what babies do. And so there was an incident where the baby was chewing on the corner of the baby's blanket. And at the time, it didn't appear to be any sort of issue, but now you know, now that we're in litigation over this, it's become, oh, he was abusing the child, he was stuffing a blanket
Mom,
down
what's
her
going
throat.
on with the past?
So babies put everything they can possibly put in their mouths. So that almost checks out, unless he was shoving a blanket into the baby's mouth, which also checks out.
Fires.
At the time, the baby was 3 weeks old, and I fully breastfeed. So he wasn't a fussy baby. He only cried when he needed to be changed, fed, or he needed to sleep. And I didn't give a pacifier because if he's crying, then I can go ahead and give him milk, or I check to see if
And that absolutely checks out too, because pacifiers interfere with breastfeeding. Sometimes the babies don't latch on right if they use a pacifier. So that checks out.
he need to be changed. He wasn't a fussy baby, and he was only 3 weeks old.
So that's when he was 3 weeks old. What about right now?
Right now he's 4 months. He's not fussy. He's not a
I don't-
fussy.
Is he using pacifier? What's?
I tried to give him a pacifier, but he.
I mean, I
rejects-
don't really care. I just need to know what's been happening.
Yeah, I tried. I asked.
Not
him-
that I don't care. That came out wrong. Not that I don't care. If you want to give him a pacifier or not, that's none of my real business. But
Yeah, I've asked his doctor, and breastfeeding counselors about it, but they say it's normal with breastfed children. They usually don't take pacifiers until they're older.
okay.
So,
Sorry, counsel, to
No, that's-
interrupt. I just needed to clear that up in my mind.
it's quite all right. I mean, there was a representation made that when he came back to Vegas, what counsel said was that he promised that he's going to act right and take care of her. Well, if that's a promise he made, then it's a promise that he has kept. We just heard from counsel that she's not working, she's finishing up school. He is still paying for this apartment where she and her parents, who are not on the lease, are living with this child. He has not seen this child in 7 weeks because she and her parents refused to allow him access to his own home. This is a mess of epic proportions. And if you look at the text messages that we attached, it all sort of makes sense. It all makes sense. She's telling him, "You're never going to see this kid. I'm going to make sure this kid hates you. I'm going to sell all your stuff." I mean, the text messages are to me compelling evidence of, at the very least, some postpartum issues, and at worst, some pathogenic parenting.
Well, you asked for a psych eval, and so
Yes.
that's what I was trying to get to, counsel. Why do you think that she needs the psych eval? You think that this type of behavior that you see in the text messages was not present prior to the birth of the child?
Correct.
So you think that it might be postpartum issues? Is
Or,
that-
or the early stages of pathogenic parenting, Your Honor. When I see in writing, this child is going to hate you, this child is never going to like you, I'm going to make sure of it. I mean, that's pathogenic parenting 101. And again, until the birth of Julian, there was no conflict between these parties. They were getting along just fine. He consented, my client consented to coming back to Las Vegas, even though all of his family and friends are, in fact, in Wisconsin, so that he could be here with her and support her and take care of the baby. And the minute the baby was born, essentially, everything changed. And we start getting these unsubstantiated allegations of him being violently angry and all these sorts of things. If the court's comfortable with it, I mean, I know that typically what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and my client is willing to engage in an evaluation and whatever counseling might be necessary as well. But something is terribly amiss in this case. And what we have is a very strange situation where my client is basically, without any basis in fact at all, is being deprived not only of access to his own home, but of any contact with this child. And that's not acceptable. That needs to change, and it needs to change today.
So, counsel, what do you think the appropriate order is?
Okay, we just heard both opening statements. Whose side are we on? Who do we think is the crazy liar? I do not know. I did not watch this. The only thing I saw was what we saw yesterday. I'm going with Mom is the crazy one. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. I'm always wrong, I should say. So if I think Mom is the crazy one, y'all should probably pick Dad. Oh, gosh. I'm going with Mom. Going with Mom is the crazy one, but we're going to see. We're going to see. And I wonder if she's going to keep... I wonder if they are both going to keep their lawyers the whole time. Or any lawyer.
Temporarily.
So
No, Bobby, you don't get to pick because you always say that women are terrible creatures.
temporarily, her her parents need to be out of that house. They're not on the lease. They have no right to be there. If she wants to stay there on her own, then we're going to have to work that out. But he needs to at least have access to his child and to his home. To at the very least go in and in an unmolested way to collect whatever necessities he needs so that he's got a temporary housing situation somewhere else. But really, he wants, if she doesn't want to get help, then he would like to be back in that apartment with that child. That's what he's seeking to do today.
Okay. All right, thank you. Counsel, I'm a little bit concerned about these emails. They're frightening. Bahaha, you're going to have a lonely, miserable Father's Day. You have no recent photos of Julian to post. Your friends can tell because I post him daily and he's clearly changed. You screwed yourself over. I'm not a fool, but you are. I didn't make this baby on my own, and I'm by no means going to make anything easy for you. And those are the ones I can repeat out loud.
She would like to
Oh,
address
go ahead.
on the.
Yes, Your Honor. At the time, I was really hurting for my child. What he doesn't show is my text messages reaching out to him. Are you gonna come see the baby? Are you gonna help me take care of this baby? Because he decided to leave on his own, and he never came by. He never asked me, "How's the baby doing? Does he need anything?" And as a new young mother, you see your child, and he doesn't have a father.
But you said that you would raise him to hate evil white people.
It was at the time I was very, very upset and hurt, but that's
I
not how
also hate
was.
evil
I mean,
white
he's
people.
half white. He's got a whole family.
That's
that-
not what you say in your text
Right.
messages.
It's
You
not.
say the other.
Yeah, that was very early when the baby was young.
Just-
After that, I stopped.
The baby is still young. This is
Yeah.
very difficult for me to read.
Yeah. I mean, after that, I stopped contacting him because I'm no longer, angry and upset. What I have to do is be twice the parent for the baby if his father doesn't want to come see him. And
So some of these emails, he's asking to see the baby and how is the baby, and you're not responding.
those text messages, if you look at it, I was looking at them. They were
No,
never
she said
sent.
evil.
Like an
Evil.
iMessage. If a message is sent, it'll say delivered at the bottom. And I never received any of those messages. There was a time also when I didn't have a phone because I was paying attorney fees, food and.
Not the rent, though.
No, not rent. Neither of us were paying rent at the time, but food, taking care of my baby, diapers, very expensive, toys, all kinds of things. And I didn't have a phone for a few weeks, but my parents added me onto their account. Now I have a phone.
Okay, anything else you want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a little issue of his actual residency. He has no ties except this baby to Nevada. On information and belief, he has a Wisconsin driver's license.
So would you like to remove the case to Wisconsin?
Pardon?
Would you like to remove the case to Wisconsin?
No, he would stay here, but he filed it as a resident
Well,
of
was he
Nevada.
here the 6 weeks prior to the filing?
But you also have to be a bona fide resident and remain in the state.
You want him to file it in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I'll
This
grant
is-
your motion and we'll send it to
Now,
Wisconsin right
This is
now.
the home state of the baby, because the baby's
Oh, okay,
always
so
been
then
there.
why do I need to hear about his residency?
Well, he doesn't have personally, I think he's probably gonna return to Wisconsin. He told, Mom's dad he was gonna return to Wisconsin. He
Okay.
has a home there, he has nothing here except the baby, which he's never made any attempt to see. I
But
mean,
see,
he's
it
been in the
seems
house
like he's
like
made
4 or 5 times.
several attempts to see him
No,
over the text
no, no.
messages.
He's been in the house 4 or 5 times. He's never gone to see the baby in the house, in the room, when he's sleeping or anything else. He doesn't have a job, he's irresponsible. And I think he needs to take some classes. She doesn't have a problem with him visiting the child once he will show that he knows how to take care of an infant. He's saying, the council said that the baby was, babies chew on blankets. Not at 3 weeks they don't chew on blankets.
Yes, they
And
do.
then stop crying. Mom
Yes,
does
they
say
do.
that she will permit a pacifier, the baby just doesn't want it.
No, I understand. I just needed to know what was
You
going
know,
on.
and Mom just didn't have a postpartum. She was angry with Dad. She left him in December. You can't say they were happy before. She's not been happy.
Well, whether they're
Yeah.
happy or not happy, or who left who, or whether you're mad, all that's irrelevant for today.
No, I'm just replying to what he said because they were a happy couple, and all of a sudden she has a baby now.
I
she's
think
a raping.
council was explaining why he's concerned about the psychological issues and why he made a request
Correct.
for psychological evaluation. I didn't take that as a remark as to, their history or past.
Oh, I kind of did because
Oh.
it was in the pleadings.
No, the court needs to understand why when we ask for anybody.
So, the first time my ex left me, my son was 8 months old. And then the other two were like, 2 years ahead of him. And I remember starting out with the text messages, begging him to see the kids, talk to the kids, call the kids, anything. I remember asking him to help. I didn't have a job. We decided I would stay home with the 3 kids instead of working at the printing press because it was full of, chemicals and things like that. I was breastfeeding. I would stay home with the kids. He made plenty of money, and I built websites, and I made about $10,000 a quarter building these websites. So it's not like I wasn't doing any work at all. I was. But I wasn't working in the factory. So he left, and when he left, the websites were gone too, because I built the websites, but he sold them, and he left, so I'm not a salesperson. I remember sending him texts, begging him, I will pay you. I paid him to see the kids. I paid him to, I would drive the kids because he says, I don't have any gas money. Oh, I don't have any food here at the house. Okay, fine. I will bring food. I will drive them to you. Here's $50. I even paid him a carton of cigarettes once to see the kids. So after that went on for a couple years, then my text messages became way different. They were more like she said, but I never said like I'm going to make sure the kids hate you. My text messages were like, you made sure your kids hate you because you never show up, because you don't talk to them. Hey, happy Father's Day. Oh, nothing from your kids? Maybe that's because you've ignored them. Yeah, I sent those text messages. I loved them. They made me feel so good.
Ask for psychological evaluation. Why specifically? Is it? And he gave me what his concerns were, that they're perhaps situational, rather than diagnosis that could go on for years. Something different. So I needed to understand that allegation.
We also would like to have a drug test of Dad. Dad, and it's legal now, marijuana. He uses pot, and my client says that he uses cocaine. He parties a lot. He goes out at night, and when he acts strangely around her, she thinks it's because he's under the influence, and she knows that he has taken both these drugs. So that's a issue with us, is his drug use.
Anything?
Well, I mean, Your Honor, again, my client is willing to do whatever he needs to do to have reasonable contact with his only child. But in terms of, I'm baffled, frankly, in this situation where we have a defendant who, with the support of her parents, and we included some text messages from her mother as well, who seems to be participating in some of this as well, but we have a defendant who, with her parents, is essentially unilaterally declaring that I'm going to stay in this apartment, I'm going to sell all your stuff, I'm going to make sure this kid doesn't ever see you, and I'm going to make sure that your reputation and everything about your life is ruined. Meanwhile, he's the one paying the bills. I mean, he's the one, they can say all day long, he needs to get a real job. She doesn't have a real job either, but he's the one who's actually making sure that there's a roof over her head and over this child's head. I mean, the mess that is being created by the defendant here is absolutely
Okay, I need
out of
everybody
bounds.
to understand something now. I'm not gonna order that you live together. So one
Right.
person is gonna live in that apartment, and the person who lives in the apartment is going to pay for the apartment and pay for all of the utilities until further order of this court.
Oh, I love this
Okay.
judge. I love
So
her.
We're not just gonna live there and not pay for everything, okay? That's not happening, all right? I am going to order a civil standby for the plaintiff to obtain all of his property. We need to think about a time and a place that we can do that.
Okay.
I am very upset at these text messages. They're absolutely disgusting. Horrible. I don't expect that type of behavior from you in the future. Please understand the following. That the state of Nevada has a preference for joint physical custody. A preference for joint physical custody means that's what they want in the vast majority of cases. In order for me to make an order that's different from joint physical custody, I have to make specific findings. Today I'm making a temporary order. I have to take into consideration a lot of things. Today, the age of your son is one thing that I take into consideration, but that strikes both ways. All right, he's very young and he needs to develop a bond with both parents, and that.
Kelly, you're talking to almost all 70s and 80s kids. We've all licked the hell out of 9-volt batteries. All of us. That's how you tested them to see if they're still good or not. Should I throw this away? Nah, it's still good.
Bond being developed at this very young age is very important. Although I understand that he's been with you, Mom, solely for a very long time, Dad hasn't been allowed to see him for some time, and your emails are clear that that was your intention, that you raised this child on your own and that you keep this baby to be your own and not his. And I don't think counsel at any part of today has misinterpreted or exaggerated the nature of those text messages. They're horrible. You both will continue talking and communicating via Talking Parents. Dad, do you have Mom's email address?
Yes.
Okay. And Mom, will you tell us your email address on the record today so that we get the right one?
Yes.
What's your email address?
It's katesamalaza@gmail.com.
Is that the one that you have?
Yeah.
All right. So he's going to set up the Talking Parents account within the next 24 to 48 hours, okay? I'm going to give you a flyer about that. Your counsel will help you and answer any questions you might have. Maybe you're going to get a request from Talking Parents. It's a free resource online to help parents communicate with each other. You two have a very small baby, and communication about his daily routine, how he's doing, how much he's eating, his diapers, everything.
This was 2018. Emailing that won't help, guys. Just won't.
You have to communicate about. You two can't communicate. These text messages I read are absolutely horrible. You are talking about a lot of other stuff and not this baby, okay? You are in a business relationship going forward. That is the business of raising Julian. I expect you to speak to each other like you speak to your coworkers and your supervisors. I understand that you're both not working now, but let's just imagine that you were, all right? I don't want to see the type of text messages that I have seen from you in the future. Horrible, okay? I need to set an order temporarily that creates visitation until a further order of this court. In the meantime, I'm going to order that the plaintiff take a newborn and infant care class through the county. That class is available free of charge, okay? I'm going to have you take that before your visitation starts. I think that will alleviate a lot of moms' concerns, okay? And it's something mom specifically requested. By making this order, though, I am not, and I don't want you to hear that I am taking mom's allegations as true today, okay? I am moving forward out of an abundance of caution, okay? I've had many newborns, many it seems like, in my lifetime, and it is always beneficial to parents of both genders to take classes or refreshers that help us know what the new, sleep on the stomach, sleep, now it's on the back, by the way, but it's, things change over time and it's important, and we can only get information that benefits our child. This class is available free of cost. I'm going to give you the flyer for that class in a moment, before we leave today. Temporarily, we need to I understand that both of you are not working. Mom, are you going to school now? Do you have a class schedule, or are you getting ready? UNLV just started yesterday. Where are you?
I started classes yesterday.
Okay, so what's your class schedule? What days are you going?
I'm in class Monday through Thursday.
Okay, tell me about that.
Mondays and Wednesdays I have class from Mondays I have class from 2:30 to 3:45, and then Wednesdays I have an additional class. I have the same class plus 5 to 8, 5:30 to 8:15, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I have class from 11:30 to 12:45.
So you're taking 3 classes
No, I'm taking 6. I have 3 online.
and then 3 online in addition to this. Okay. My order is that Mom take over exclusive possession of that lease because Dad's already moved out. We'll set a time. It looks like the weekends are best, either Saturday or Sunday of this coming weekend, for the parties to schedule a civil standby. And counsel, you'll speak to your client about that and how to schedule that and contact the police department. The police department will stand by as he moves those items out of the house that are his. Okay? All right. Of the apartment.
And then what about items that we obtained together and gifts as well?
So this is not a divorce case, okay, where I separate property. Okay? So if you would like to fight about that, you'll do so in front of another judge on another day. But there are certainly items of clothing or personal items, his parents' wedding photo, things like that there's no concern about. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Neither parent cares about this child one bit. Neither of them has even one binder.
Your Honor, my client cannot afford the apartment. There's 3 people in this apartment. Plaintiff doesn't pay for the apartment either. His aunt does, or his mother. I'm not sure which one. Probably his aunt.
So is she going to be moving out?
Then the aunt can live there.
Yeah, my client, he'll move out. She'll move out.
Counsel?
That's fine.
You'll move out by Saturday or Sunday?
Whoa, that's really fast.
I'm with school. It's hard. Can I have?
Well, you've been living there and not paying
Yeah,
for
10
it for all
days.
this time.
10 days.
Counsel? 10 days from today?
I hunt you.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine.
10 days from today. All right. She'll vacate the apartment, leaving behind his personal items. I can tell by the tone of these text messages and the tone of the motions. I need to say this. Do not get caught in the pettiness of who bought the TV. Okay? There are more important things at stake here. And if you want to fight about and send horrible messages to each other about a picture on the wall or a set of pots and pans, you be my guest. But understand it's not going to make me happy. All right? You have one priority, and it's your son, and not all this other stuff. Okay? So I implore you to behave as adults. Okay, so 10 days from today. That being said, I think that the plaintiff will have more than enough time in those 10 days to get his get that class taken care of. Counsel, they get a little certificate from the county at the end of that class.
We'll
You'll
file
get
it.
that over to counsel.
Absolutely.
You could file it with the
We
court
just
and
do
serve.
file and serve.
Absolutely, counsel. I think
Okay.
that's probably the easiest, all right? And then as soon as that's complete, I think we need to start visitation. Let's talk about all that baby furniture and what are we going to do with that? Now, is the baby sleeping in a crib or who bought it and what's going on with all that?
He said she can take all the baby furniture.
All right, so
and
you-
and he'll replace what he needs.
All right, thank you. And so, sir, that'll give you some time to get some furniture and get the things that you need. Is the
I am
baby
also
sleeping
surprised.
in a cradle? Is it in a crib right now? What's
We co-sleep. because I breastfeed and he wakes up to feed like an hour, 2 hours at
Have
night.
you spoken to your doctor about this?
Yeah.
And your doctor recommends this?
She says that if I'm able to do it, then it's probably best. And also,
Which doctor said that?
her name is Anita Henderson.
Okay. The court's concerned about that, and I'm gonna caution you right now. Co-sleeping is very deadly.
Very, very deadly. It's not a joke. The doctor did not say that.
Okay? Extraordinarily deadly. Hundreds of infants die every year. I can't let that go unsaid. The baby sleeps in his crib when he's with you, all right? I implore the both of you to speak to your pediatrician again about that statement and reconsider your position, okay? I'm extraordinarily concerned that your doctor, whom you named on the record, told you to continue to co-sleep with the
She
4-month-old.
didn't say it, but I brought it up to her. You know, these are my concerns with breastfeeding, and he's constantly waking up at night to eat and eat and eat. And she said, well, if you are comfortable and you're able to do it, then, you know, yeah, with caution, but keep a watch on what you do. But it's common with breastfed children that they will wake up next to their mothers and feed. So I've had a conversation with her.
Okay, my order is that you have another conversation with her at your next well check and reconsider this. You are temporarily I'm ordering joint legal custody. This is a legal custody issue. I'm real concerned about it. I want you to do a little bit more research and reconsider your position. So do you have a crib for him?
Yeah, crib and a bassinet that I put him in during the day.
Okay. And so you'll get all new furniture for the baby. You each will be responsible
That's why I don't co-sleep with a husband. It's super dangerous.
for the diapers and the wipes and the stuff. He's 4 months old now, but the next 2 months are going to go really quickly, and then he'll be eating solid food soon, and all these things will be changing. That's why I think you need to be in constant communication about his schedule, what he's eating, what's happening with him on Talking Parents. I'm going to order a graduated schedule. I think that it's appropriate. It looks like on Mondays you have class 2 to 3:45, and then Wednesdays it goes to 8:15. Is that right? Okay. And so where are you living now? Is it close to where her apartment was, or is it far away? What is it?
It's in the vicinity.
Okay. Pretty close?
Long-term rental.
Okay. So,
I believe it's about 2 miles away.
oh, okay. Or I was just
Yeah.
making sure we weren't in
Yeah, no,
Henderson
you're
and
not.
Summerlin,
No,
and
no.
I don't want the little baby in the car for 3 hours
Right.
to go back and forth. What I think is appropriate is that for at least the next month, on Mondays and Wednesdays, from 1:30 through 8:30, and we need to talk about that for a little bit so that we make sure we have enough time for travel time.
If they're old enough to crawl into the bed, that's different. Babies, though, no, you'll kill them.
That dad have the baby during that time, okay, when mom's at school, all right, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays that we carve out some time as well. So let me talk to you about your commute. I don't want to set you up for failure to be late or too early. So tell me, you said you have class at 2. So what time do you need to leave to get to class, and do you want dad to come pick up where you don't know where you're going to live yet, right?
I do, with my parents.
They have another house? I thought they were
They don't
living.
live in the house.
Okay, so they have a house?
Yeah, they have
Okay.
it.
Is it close?
It's not close. No, it's on the other side of town. It's northeast of Las Vegas.
Okay, so you're gonna move in with them in 10 days? Okay, so we need to find a pickup and drop off point that's probably maybe, in the middle, so that you can exchange the baby on those Mondays and Wednesdays and on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So let's talk about that. So where would work?
What time is it at?
Well, you're going to class from 2 to 3:45 and then 2 to 8:15. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm going to have him have the baby while you're in class. So does it make sense for you to drop off somewhere on your way to UNLV? And did I assume UNLV? Is it CSN? You tell me.
Yes, it's UNLV.
Okay. And when I went to UNLV, it took me 45 minutes to get there and another 20 minutes to park and walk in. So I don't want to set you up for failure. I don't want to say 1:30, but you really need to get there earlier. You tell me.
I need to.
You have a gold
And we can
star.
have the receiving parent pick up. So that means dad can pick up from you at mom and dad's house. And then when you're done with school, you can pick up from him.
My clients have to do all transportation because his schedule, he makes his own schedule.
Sorry. What?
So what's your request? He says he'll accommodate what you want.
Pick the baby up on Monday and Wednesday.
I'd rather drop him off just because of the car situation.
What's the car situation?
His car is covered in cigarettes. So it's just a very unsafe car for a child. And mine is clean, and and I have the car seat, so I can drop him off.
What time are you going to drop him off?
I can drop him off on Mondays and Wednesdays at let's see,
12.
You start school at 2. So what time do you need to drop him off so that you can get to UNLV on time to park and go in? And I don't know. Council, did they have the Scantrons anymore? Did they even do that? I don't know.
Okay, so our meeting point. What would our meeting point be?
You
Would
just
that-
said you want to do all the transportation and you want to drop him off at the house. So you don't get a meeting point if you want to do that.
So I can drop him off at 1:00.
Okay. 1 o'clock on Monday and Wednesday. Okay. Now, do you want him to drop the baby off at your parents' house on Monday and Wednesday evenings?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, and get a car seat. He has to get a car seat.
Yeah, he's gonna get
Don't
a
worry
car
about
seat.
that.
Okay, so you're gonna drop off. You get out of school at 8:15. What time will you be back at the house? By 9, right?
45 minutes. Yeah, by 9.
Okay, so 9 p.m. He'll drop off on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. All right. And then Tuesday and Thursday you're in class at 11:30 to 12:45. Is that right? Okay, so what you want to take the baby there on your way to school? So do you want to drop the baby off at 10:30? That's an hour early.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the baby's gonna get dropped off at 10:30, and then Dad, you're gonna drop the baby back off to Mom by 2 p.m. Okay, Council, you're gonna get this all typed up in an order so that we understand. In the meantime, I'm gonna send the parties to FMC. Okay, this schedule is a lot of back and forth, right? The baby's so little. Okay, so this is a schedule that's created to be temporary. Okay, this isn't a schedule we would have for a 1-year-old, right? Okay, so I want you two to sit down in the same room with the mediator and come up with the schedule that works. Okay, for the long term. You're not going to do that tomorrow. Although I'm going to issue the referral today, Council. I'm totally fine if they wait 60 days or 90 days to sit down. I think when time for mediation is really ripe, where they see that they can work together. We're going to be on a new path of new communication, new working together. We're going to have people in different places, and you're going to learn more about traffic and all kinds of things
I bet that statement is not going to age well.
in the next 60 days, okay? And so I ask you to be a little bit, somebody's going to run late one time. The baby's going to throw up all over the car seat in the middle of the commute. These things are going to happen, okay? They're not going to happen every time, but I'm going to ask you to be a little bit reasonable and give each other a little bit of grace in taking care of that baby and doing that transport. But I think this will work out well in the meantime. All right. I'm going to order joint legal custody, joint physical custody based on that order. I understand that timeshare is not exactly joint physical custody, but I make this order for 2 reasons: mom's schedule, dad's schedule, the age of the baby, and with the intention that this increase over time, and that this is the schedule that works at least for the next month
Evil bot.
before everybody can get settled in their new places, get all the new equipment they need, get the baby class taken care of, you get settled into your school schedule, and we move on. Anything else, Council? I'm going to set a date for return from mediation, Council. Do you want me to set a trial date today?
I think we should, and then the one thing
Half day
I
every
didn't hear you cover was our request for a psychological evaluation. So
Council, I'm gonna defer two things, the request for psych eval and the request for attorney's fees until we come back in
Got it.
60 days. Those two things I'm gonna leave on.
I just want to
I,
put them in
I,
order.
I am hopeful
Okay.
that the behavior I've seen on the text messages ends, that we go on a different path, and we can start to work together in this new circumstance. I know it's a time of transition and that may be difficult, but let's master that, and then we'll deal with those two issues when we come back in 60 days
Absolutely
for
not.
return from FMC. Then I'm going to issue you a half-day evidentiary hearing and calendar call.
Return from FMC is November the 5th, 9 a.m. Half-day evidentiary hearing is March
Cocktail making is different though. That's not cooking.
28th, 1:30 p.m. Calendar call March 7th, 10 a.m.
Council, I will issue.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the time
sorry.
on the calendar call.
Calendar
10.
call 10 a.m.
10, thank you.
Council, I am going to issue a CMO this afternoon, a case management order this afternoon. My equipment isn't working wonderfully. I would ordinarily do that for you now. I will have that done this afternoon, and you'll have e-service. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Council, Mr. Lytle, you'll prepare the order.
I will.
It's good to see you.
See you as well. And thank you for accommodating our request to go early. Let's meet Judge Ritchie's courtroom shortly, which is.
Well, I don't want to
Drive.
look. I don't want to hold up Judge Ritchie. You know that.
No, I don't either.
Good morning, Council.
Oh, let me change things.
That's okay.
No wonder
Whatever.
it was
Look,
dark in here.
that's all right. Whatever it takes. I do that sometimes too. This is the matter of Ravello versus Sangalaza, D 18-572-482C and R 18-205-416R. The parties are present. Council, you're.
Is that the same attorney? It looks like Mom has the same attorney, right? I can't tell because there's no aluminum foil.
Appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Lytle, 11640, on behalf of Nicholas Ravello, who's present.
Pamela Lawson, bar number 5044, for Karen Sangalisa, who is present.
Good morning. It looks as though the part. Everybody have a seat. This is on for return hearing from FMC psychological evaluation and attorney's fees. It looks as though the parties attended mediation and came up with a partial parenting agreement. That is prepared. Council, are you ready to sign off on that agreement?
We're ready to sign up on the partial agreement. I think the one issue is sort of when all this is going to start.
Okay.
And so there was some confusion following the last hearing, just to catch the court up. I tried to get us a telephonic appearance, and for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But there still has been no visitation, no contact at all in the last 2 months. My
Okay.
client, the day of the last hearing, which was I believe August 28th, called down and signed up for the baby care class. That
Okay.
class is a 6-week class,
Okay.
and it doesn't start like any week.
Okay.
So he wasn't even able to start the class until
My dye was $3.
the middle of October.
Okay.
He's halfway through the class now,
Okay.
but because of some holidays, then they take some breaks. So
Okay.
he's not going to be done with this class until the middle of December at
Okay.
this point. He's looking obviously to start visitation sooner than that. It had already been about 4 months since there'd been any contact the last time we were here, and now it's 2 more months later. So that's the real big issue. And then the other problem is that at the last hearing, we had talked about exchanges happening at the parties' respective homes.
Okay.
And apparently now, the defendant doesn't want to agree to that, and is insisting on all of these sort of extra.
That's not fair. You don't even know, Donald. This camera removes all yellow. So when I do my hair and I get dressed before a stream, I always wonder what color everything's going to turn out to be when I turn the camera on. I wore this deep turquoise shirt the other day. I loved it. The color was perfect. It's turquoise, and when I pressed play, the shirt was the same color as the background. It was just blue. So yeah, this is not the color of my hair, what you see. It's very, very red. It's very, very, very lighter red. But this camera removes all yellow because of the green screen. It's just weird.
Safety features being put in place and exchanging like at the police department, which is
I don't think warranted in this case. So we just need to make sure that that previous order in terms of the exchange location is correct, and then we really like to get this visitation started this week.
Counsel?
Your Honor, we did offer visitation through Donna's house.
Is it possible that he's Jewish? I'm sorry, I don't remember what it's called, but is it possible he's Jewish and wearing one of those things? I can't remember what it's called. Instead of that's his hair. I mean, that can't be his hair, right? I do sometimes wear a green shirt and it's see-through and you can see the background through it. What is that called? Yarmulke. Thank you, Nan. Thank you. That could be just like an extra thick yarmulke. I don't know.
House. They rejected it.
That was just,
Also, the order that council sent was not correct, did not follow the minutes, and Your Honor ended up signing my version of it. He took the liberty of adding after the first class of the baby class, and that's not what was stated. He also told me that he had discussed it with someone here in this department, which I don't believe was true, because I can't imagine that someone in your department would
Sorry, I
say
missed it.
change
I'm
the
sorry, I'm
order
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm
without
sorry.
consulting with me.
That's not what I represented, Your Honor. Just
Okay,
to
so-
jump in there for a moment.
That order's been signed, that issue is done. Tell me now, based on what he's saying, that he wasn't able to sign up immediately, that he has taken some of the classes, but due to the holidays, he won't be done until
He
mid-December.
won't be done to December because he didn't get on it right away. If he had gone down within a few days, he would have had the proper class, but.
He called and signed up on August
Would you please
28th.
not interrupt
All right,
me?
so counsel, based on what he's saying, you think that it's appropriate that there's no visitation until the middle of December? Is that what you,
Unless they want to go to Donna's house, that'd be fine.
what is the concern?
Safety of the child.
Okay, what is the concern specifically?
I have no idea what they've covered so far in the class.
I feel like it has to
In
be.
mediation, he also mentioned that the class isn't teaching him anything for a child 6 months and plus. He tried to argue that a eating baby shouldn't be given water. Well, the baby shouldn't be given water and food. And then the mediator had to let him know that a child at 6 months who eats needs food and water. He didn't know even the basic things to buy for a child. And if you've been
Okay, so has mom taken an infant caring class similar? How do we know that she's able to care for the baby?
Because she has siblings. And
Okay, oh,
she's
do you
helped
have
raise the
siblings? Do you have siblings?
No.
Oh. Okay, I didn't know that was, here's my concern. At the last hearing, mom was co-sleeping and thought that was appropriate for an infant child, okay? We can debate and talk to about 10 pediatricians about whether or not we're gonna give a baby at 6 months water or not, all right? So, I think that's up for debate. So,
Wait, what?
what
No.
we're going to do is we're
No, it's not. That's not up for debate. A 6-month-old baby needs food and water. They really do. I don't understand what's going on. Never mind. We're just gonna post. But that's common sense that a human being, even at 6 months, would need food and water, right? Not just milk, not just breast milk at 6 months. At 3 months, they should be getting a little bit of cereal. So by 6 months, food and water is what they need.
we're going to start visitation. Donna's house is not designed to supervise parents who perhaps don't have the
What
requisite knowledge or skill to
What the hell do you mean? You can't give a 6-month-old water because they'll get water? Okay, guys, we're going to breathe through this because we know, and it's fine. We know that babies need whiskey, food, and water.
to care for an infant. Donna's house is designed when there's a safety issue, when there's concerns about abuse, about neglect. That's not the allegation here. Okay, what we have is two parties that disagree about how to properly raise an infant. I point you all back to the child's treating pediatrician and their directive. Okay? So if that treating
Hey, Bobby. Bobby, you know who doesn't need food and water, Bobby? Husbands.
pediatrician says, no, you shouldn't co-sleep. Mom with the 4-month-old baby. Mom, Dad, you shouldn't supplement with water for a baby who's being bottle fed and is only receiving milk. Or maybe you can. Or maybe you take food at 4 months or 6 months. Pediatricians change about every year, okay, about what is appropriate. So there's some room within that. Those aren't hard and fast rules that I'm going to judge parenting by. So that being said, I think that it's appropriate that we begin with, when is he scheduled to have his next newborn care class?
This Saturday, I believe.
Saturday?
Upcoming Saturday. That'll
So-
be class number 4 of 6.
So that will be 4 of 6? Okay. After Saturday, when he's completed 4 of 6, we'll begin the agreed upon visitation schedule. It looks as though that we have a calendar call and evidentiary hearing scheduled in March. Is there anything else we need to do before March or that I need to take care of today?
No, I think the only remaining issue at this point, Your Honor, is going to be child support, which will be according to statute. And so I'm hoping we can just get a stipulation on that and incorporate that into a final degree of custody and get that submitted. I guess my suggestion would be maybe we just set this for a status check in 30 to 60 days and see if we can't just get that last little piece resolved. And
Well, it looks like if we utilize the visitation schedule, which is an interim visitation schedule and doesn't represent the permanent visitation schedule, neither should it represent what is a likely court outcome in this case.
right.
That child support with mom having primary physical custody and dad's gross monthly income being $1,856, that child support should be set at $334.08. If dad is providing the health insurance for the child, I would deviate
That's more than I got for 3 kids.
downward 1/2 of the monthly cost of the health insurance premium upon proof shown on the company's letterhead or on some official document where he's receiving that.
He's not providing insurance at the present time.
There you go. Then he doesn't get the downward deviation. All right. Is there anything else that I need to do? Attorney's fees would be deferred to the evidentiary hearing.
Correct.
Anything else, counsel?
No, I don't believe so.
All right.
Nothing else?
Counsel, you'll prepare the order from today. I'll see you back.
The one other thing that we do need is that Karen apparently is still refusing to tell my client where she's living, which is a legal custody issue, but then it's going to be really important next week when we start visitation as well.
Okay. So let's talk about the address issue and the pickup and drop off location. Counsel, what do you think is appropriate for the pickup and drop off location?
Well, my client is not comfortable having the plaintiff know where she lives. So,
Okay,
which-
so this is how we can do it, just so everybody's clear. Okay, you guys got joint legal custody. So we can do this. He's not gonna tell you and you're not gonna tell him. So heaven forbid that there's a natural disaster, okay? There's an accident, a huge, I don't know, earthquake, I don't know what it is, and you don't know where your baby's laying her head, okay? That's difficult, okay? We don't do that. Every single parent needs to know where their child is really all the time.
Good job,
Okay.
Judge. Yes.
It's not just fair, it's what you deserve as a mom. You need to know where your baby is, okay? Where your baby sleeps. Dad deserves the same, okay? Now, if your concern is that dad would come over there for a time other than to exchange the child, I can resolve that. I can issue a stay away order today, and I will. That means the two of you have to stay away from each other's residences and places of employment unless it's for exchange of your child. Now listen, this isn't so easy to cut each other off. Your baby's 6 months old, okay? You're gonna be together and have some relationship, albeit maybe a business relationship moving forward, the business of raising your child, okay? That means you don't ask each other, how are you? Did you have a good day? You ask each other, how's the baby? How did the baby sleep? Is the baby still teething? The business of raising a child requires that you incorporate and talk to each other in a civil manner. The way you would talk to a coworker or to a supervisor is the way that you'll speak to each other, and only about the business of Julian and nothing else, right? Okay. So, we need to know where each other lives all the time. That's one of the basic rules of joint legal custody, just a fundamental tenet of our law moving forward. If either of you is to move within 48 hours, you have to notify the other one in writing, okay? Now, for the exchange spot, we're coming up on a real cold period of time. And I know your child it's not cold now, right? But when that baby gets all snuggled into that infant carrier, you don't want to take them out, right? and I know that you haven't experienced winter yet with this little baby, but it's going to be important. Are your concerns about your interaction with Dad at the pickup and drop off? And those, okay.
She's agreeable with you issuing the order about the stay away other than.
Well, that's great because I already issued it. So good thing you
Oh, I
agree
didn't
because I just already
realize
did
that
it.
you did it.
Well,
You
yeah,
said
I did. I'm
I
going to
love
enter a stay away
her.
order today. That's how I did it.
Good.
So, if for the pickup and drop off, what we don't want is for Julian to have overexposure to law enforcement. Okay? We don't want when it's 3 degrees outside, and I know it's not ever going to be 3 degrees in Las Vegas, but when it's cold, we don't want your cold baby waiting out at the police station for the other one to come pick him up. Okay? It makes sense, and I know you don't like each other, and I don't expect you to like each other. If you liked each other, you'd still be together, right? You're not. So, of course you don't like each other, okay? Of course you don't want each other at your houses, but this is how it's going to happen for the next 18 years, okay? This is how we're going to do it. You're not going to talk during the...
My kids are like number 4 or 5. My dog is number 1. My cats are number 2. My job is number 3. My beer is number 4. Actually, my food is number 5. Something else which I won't mention is number 6. And then my kids are number 7.
pick up and exchange, okay? Do you each have the same infant carrier?
I don't even know if he has one.
Well, he's gonna have one, and that was my order last time. So here's the difference, right? If you have the same base for your car, you can exchange the child and the infant carrier and just put the base, right? Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Oh no, my dog is way superior to my cats. My dog pees a little when he sees me. She sees me because she loves me that much. My cats give me the middle finger when they see me and then scratch me. And look, did you hear that? That's my cats fighting right now. My dog does not do that.
Right? Everybody? Mom, Dad? Got it? Okay. That is easier than taking your sleeping infant out of an infant carrier, holding him up in the dead of night, and giving him to the other one, right?
Yep.
Does it make sense for you to coordinate? Mom, what brand of what car seat do you have?
I don't even remember.
That's crazy.
I know. I don't
Okay,
have it.
because you know what? When I bought an infant carrier, every single time I had graphs. I was on the Consumer Reports.
Oh,
I
do
was
know.
doing this. I was at the Babies R Us. I was asking my friends.
Yeah, it was a gift. I mean, I look at it every day, but there's so many brands out there.
It was a gift.
Yeah.
I got it. You're looking at it every day. The fact that you don't know what it is concerns me. You're a mom of a 6-month-old. What car seat do you have?
I'm waiting for her to tell me what.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
in the next 48 hours, I want you to take a picture of the side of the car seat where it says the name and the model and all that stuff. And he can just buy another base, okay? So then when you exchange the child in the infant carrier. Now, do you even have an infant carrier?
Yes, I do, but the
Or do you have the like convertible car seat
I
already?
have a convertible, and also
So you don't have an infant carrier.
no, I have an infant car seat, and then the concern.
Okay,
is-
well, let's stop. Do you have an infant carrier that you take out of your car and you can hold him like a bucket?
Mhm.
Okay, so you don't have a convertible car seat. You have an infant car seat. Is that correct?
Court Vibes takes all of my time. All of my time. But I don't know. I would have to put that below my children, I think, because I just feel like if I put it above, then that's a bad mom thing to do. But I spend more time on Court Vibes than I do on my children.
Yes.
So you're gonna take a picture of it. You're gonna send it to him. He's gonna buy the base, and the carrier is going to go with your child back and forth. Soon, your child's going to be going to a convertible car seat, right? But that's probably not gonna happen until after winter. Okay. So what was your other concern?
Well, if exchanging, so can you explain that exchange of the car seat again?
Okay. It is correct, right, that you have an infant carrier. The base stays in the car, and the seat comes out, and you can carry by the handle, right? So what's going to happen when he comes and picks up on the first Monday after December 1st? There'll be visitation 1 to 9. So the receiving party is going to pick up. That means Dad's going to come to your house at 1 p.m., okay? You are going to have the baby already in the car seat, okay, at 1 p.m., okay? When he rings the doorbell, or maybe he'll, if it's easier for you, he's going to text when he pulls up. You live in an apartment or a house?
Apartment.
Okay. Apartment house?
Yeah, townhouse.
Okay. So he's going to text you that he's there, okay? He's going to walk up to the door. He's going to ring the doorbell. If the baby's sleeping, maybe you guys need to just text each other, right? And then open the door and not ring the doorbell, not to wake the baby. You're going to hand him the carrier. He's going to take the carrier. You two aren't going to talk to each other. You're going to walk back to the car, put him in your car, and drive away. And then at 9 o'clock, you're going to pick up. Okay? Same way.
And then my concern is like following that rule exactly, because you made orders the last time we were here and he didn't follow those. I mean, he harassed me forever about a bunch of things, and I had to remind him the judge made this order. If you don't remember, buy a CD, because I know he doesn't. He has a
Okay,
hard time
so listen. My order and what I say kind of goes, all right? That's it. Okay? That's all. I don't understand how this is complicated. Monday 1 to 9. Receiving party picks up. Don't speak to each other.
Right.
If there is something about the care and keeping of this child that you need to communicate, you're going to do it by text. So, Mom, that means if he's been a little fussy, he didn't go down for his morning nap, I think he might be teething, you text that to him. I didn't give him Motrin, or I gave him Motrin at this time, blah, blah, blah. When you check his fever, whatever, about the care and keeping of Julian, you guys are going to text to each other, okay? You are not going to say out loud to each other, okay? We're starting you on another path of communication. Before you communicated a different way, right? About feelings and how you liked each other or didn't like each other, about all these other things, right? Now we are on this path. It is business about Julian. So the communication style is going to be very different. This time of transition is going to, when you said he was harassing,
Linus, I mop the entire restaurant 6 nights a week. I hate it. I hate it.
me. He didn't, I told him to buy a CD. No, okay. So that type of communication, that is the old kind of communication that you enjoyed. Now it is different. Would you speak to your coworker or your supervisor that way? No. Would you say my coworker is harassing me? No. Okay, the order, what I say rules, because you two cannot get along, because you two cannot communicate. That is why I am here. Not because I want to be, not because you want me to be. There has to be a problem solver, and I got the short end of the stick today. Got it? Anything else? That'll be the order. Counsel your people.
Speaking of the short end of the stick, last night on Bill's stream, they were talking about how do they get picked, who goes in front of Judge Fleischer. And like Bill said, he watched Ruiz and he watched Juanita, and they both had similar cases, DUIs, domestic violence, things like that. Judges are random. So they go in an order based on how full their dockets are. And it's just, you just fall in whoever judges next. So it would be outstandingly unconstitutional for there to be a method on how you get a judge, because then people could pick their judges. And so it's random, and there's no way for you to tell which judge you're going to get once you commit a crime, because that would be bad.
Prepare the order within 48 hours, or within close of business today by 5 p.m. Exchange address in writing. Okay? Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you so much. Good
Thank you
luck.
so much.
Have a wonderful day. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see you back in March. Joe, who's next? This is the matter of Bravella versus Sangalaza, D18572-482C. The parties are present. Counsel, your appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Lytle, 11640, on behalf of Nicholas Rebellin, who's present.
Warren Kemp, office bar number 13572, on behalf of Karen Sangalaza.
Throw the goat. You
Counsel,
were
it
right.
looks as though we have a
Yamaka.
calendar call set for March 7th. This is Mom's motion to modify. Counsel, did you have an opportunity to talk before today?
Are you sure that's a new attorney? Are you sure?
We did.
All right, did we resolve anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead. Everybody have a seat. Go ahead, Counsel.
Well,
I believe it's both of our motions.
it is, and our motion can be used as an opposition to their motion. We had filed motions a day
About
or
2 days apart.
apart from each other, but
I
we had
see it now.
filed our
Okay.
ex parte
All right.
in order to already time to move it up to this date.
Okay, so Counsel, can we handle some little things? Did Dad complete the newborn class?
Absolutely.
All right. And what type of formula is the baby utilizing?
The baby is breastfeeding.
I know, but in your motion you say certain formula the pediatrician said was okay and Dad's using a different formula. So what is the formula?
The doctor never told you it.
Looks the same to me.
So the doctor didn't tell Mom a specific.
Why would you say that in your
Formula?
motion then, that Dad refuses to use the formula that the pediatrician has recommended?
Dad would need to talk to the pediatrician to.
Mom doesn't know what formula that is?
Mom never feeds the baby formula. Mom has no
Okay, so
reason
then
to.
why would you say Dad has refused to purchase the child formula or feeds the child the wrong formula? How do you know it's the wrong formula?
Because the child has broken out and gotten very sick from the formula.
So
that
how do you
he's-
know that's wrong if you don't know what the pediatrician has said?
Well, he's after having a reaction to that formula.
You have assumed it's wrong.
Correct.
Okay, and you have assumed that it's to the formula.
Correct, but that
Okay, come on.
the
Really?
doctor.
Okay, no.
She took him to the doctor after she retrieved the child back, vomiting, and took him to the doctor, and the doctor told her that it was a reaction to formula.
Okay, and so at that appointment, what formula did the doctor recommend?
She said she wants to know what the formula is to find out what's the reaction. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so the doctor told Mom the doctor would need to know what formula he gave to know what was in that formula that caused the reaction.
Okay, so
So Dad would have to provide whatever
no,
that
so
formula
did
was.
Mom ask Dad? Did you? What is wrong with you guys? Oh my gosh, my mind is blowing. Your baby is 9 months old. 9 months old. And you cannot text him when you're sitting in the doctor's office when the pediatrician says to you, I need to know what formula this child was given. You don't text Dad to say what formula you gave him? You just didn't do anything?
Well, she asked like
Please tell me because I'm really confused about what's going on.
well, the doctor said you need to go and if you can find out whatever the formula is, but it's definitely a reaction.
Did you do that? Did you
I-
find out?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I
This
told-
is your baby that's 9 months old and he's vomiting and he has a rash and it's such a big deal. You have to file all this paperwork and come to see me. The easy answer is, dear plaintiff, what formula did you give him? The baby had a reaction. Counsel, hold on. Did they give you notice that they were going to the pediatrician for this issue?
No.
You didn't know? You didn't tell Dad
I
beforehand?
told him, yes. For
Okay.
sure I did.
But you didn't ask what kind of formula?
No, because it was after that I went to the doctor and I told her this is what's happening. These are the symptoms. This is what's happening.
You did it at a well check?
No, emergency room.
At the emergency room? You didn't take him to your regular pediatrician?
Afterwards, I followed up. Yes.
Okay. Oh boy.
But Your Honor, one of the issues is Dad
Okay.
doesn't need to give formula at all. Mom's supposed to provide breast milk when she can. She's
Okay.
unable to pump enough breast milk often to provide that to him.
Okay.
But the child's old enough to eat regular food.
Sure. Yeah.
So he doesn't need to provide any formula whatsoever.
Did
But
the pediatrician say water's fine for this 9-month-old?
yes,
Okay. Did you tell him that?
Yes. And I told him to give him food as well.
What kind of food did you tell
I
him?
told him, at the time he was having second foods, but as baby's growing out, he's into
Yeah,
more.
I understand.
Yeah, I told him everything. In mediation, I told him through.
Not mediation.
And
No, hold on.
talking
So
terms.
listen, stop. Okay. Anything else that I need to know? Counsel?
This is just,
About
we've
this
been
issue?
at this, we've been
Oh.
at this for almost 7 months now.
Yes,
And,
so,
and we're going backwards instead of forwards.
It really sounds like it to me.
well,
I do
This is
both of
not
those.
acceptable.
I have a video,
I already got off work these days. I don't have the plane ticket bought. I don't have the hotel purchased yet, but I am trying my hardest to be there. I'm going to get there. Wait, I want to pull up my calendar just to be sure that I get this right, because if I get it wrong, gosh. February, March. Okay, so I planned on landing in Houston on the 27th, staying overnight, and then coming back home after court on the 28th. So it's the 27th, after court, is when there will be some beer consumed. And we have to consume it close to the courthouse because that's where our hotels are. But if you want to come, go into Bell's Discord and under the Houston trip and just talk about it there. Talk about it there. Everybody is talking in there. Kelly, you let me know how, and we will get you there. Anyway, if there's any possible way, Kelly, that you can come, just say the word, and we will get you there.
I'm not sure if it was included in our motion or not, but a
I
dad
didn't see it.
taking the child, putting him in the back seat, not strapping
I'm
it
walking.
into, the baby was in a car seat, but just dropping it in the back seat, getting in and driving away.
In the infant carrier?
Yes, but not just, and then just dropping it on the back seat, not strapped.
Can we Uber you, Kelly? Can we Uber you? Can we just Uber you? Like, can you get off of whatever you have to do that day so that we can Uber you there and back?
Been to anything.
Well, you know that they.
I'm going to
Have the
object to the
base.
introduction of this testimony because it's not an affidavit or
Okay,
any exhibit.
right,
But
so
if,
I
if
haven't-
you want to hear it, I'll tell you
No,
what
no.
the story
So
is.
let's be.
It's not locked in to a base.
It is.
I've seen the video. It's
Fly you? Do we have to fly you? How far? I don't know how far it is. I know Texas, to get from one city to the other, a lot of people fly. Is it that far that you need a plane? Because we can do that too. Plane, bus, train, Uber, bicycle.
very quickly drive away.
So
It
I'll.
clicks
I'll
into the base.
Yeah. So baby infant carrier clicks into a base. You literally drop it in, and it goes click click, and you walk away.
Right.
So I'm real concerned. We are really going backwards. I'm concerned about your communication. And let's be real clear. I want Julian to eat what he's supposed to eat, have the breast milk or formula that you guys want to give him, and I want him to have the best foods that the doctors give him, okay, that say that he's supposed to eat. But there has to be a level of communication, right? If Julian was 15 years old, we'd be having a different conversation, wouldn't we? Right? Julian needs, there has to be such a level of daily communication between you. And let me change the word communication, because it's not really communication, it's the sharing of information and the gathering of information. Okay? This is the formula that the pediatrician said you're using. You have joint legal custody. You got to give them notice beforehand of every doctor's visit. Okay? You have to follow up together. If there's a question that the pediatrician or the doctor,
You know that it has absolutely not helped in one way or another. Do you have to fly from Dallas to Houston, or is that a bus trip or an Uber distance or anything?
has, you got to, in good faith, get that information. Okay? You have to work together on it. There's nobody else that's going to work together on it. This is not a primary physical custody case. Nothing I've heard today, or ever in this case, has made me think that somebody in this case should have primary physical custody. Okay? To the contrary, this is a case where we're having some really bad communication ability.
Your Honor, I do want to just jump in. I mean,
Go ahead.
And I apologize for taking you off track, but
No.
our motion was filed first. We haven't gotten an opposition to that motion. Instead, we got a whole different motion 2 days later. But our motion, and I know that there was some calendaring issues, and I don't know if you've looked at it
Council,
recently.
I gotta tell you
But-
that today on
The car seat issue is a huge problem.
the calendar is just Mom's motion.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's because we filed the
They
next part.
filed the
Order shortening time
order
on
shortening
this.
time, and everything kind of got jumbled.
Okay.
But we filed a motion, we've got no opposition to this motion.
What's the issue with the car seat, Council?
Mom's not using one. That's the issue. The issue is mom's not using one, ever.
That's
We've submitted
100%
videotape. What they
false.
do is they pick up the child in the infant carrier, they take him out of the infant carrier, put the infant carrier in the trunk, and the kid sits on her lap.
With 100%
And this is happening
false.
every single time, and we submitted a disc with videotape of several of these incidents to the court along with our motion.
Well,
So-
Your Honor, what
Well,
happens
hold on. I don't have that motion. I'm gonna tell you today it's not on calendar. I don't see it. Do you see what date it's? We don't even have a date in Odyssey that it's scheduled for. Because I
it
don't
was
see a
scheduled for
future.
the 30th. And it
I
was
have a
out
calendar call and
it got
evidentiary
vacated.
hearing coming up. That's it.
Or the 20th.
Those are my only.
Yeah, it was,
The 30th, and it got vacated.
yeah, for a minute order.
And it should have been set for today and it wasn't?
Let's see what the numbers.
Okay.
And this
Proper
kind of
notice
tees
is
up
not
this whole thing.
effectuated.
Okay.
It was set for January 29th.
This
All right.
kind of tees up this whole thing. Where
Our
my client has been jumping.
Our motion was set for the 29th, and it got moved up to today. Their motion was set originally for the 30th, and it got vacated.
Ah, yes,
Because
because
we-
this is the one regarding plaintiff.
Okay.
Plaintiff renoticing.
So
Right.
I'm gonna. I need to review that video.
That's fine.
Because if and I want to review whatever video you have.
Okay.
And let me tell you something and be real clear. I expect you to comply with the laws of the state of Nevada about child restraints. The end. I'm looking at my last order. Within 48 hours of the hearing, moms to provide dad with a picture of the child's car seat to include the model number so dad can purchase a comparable model, because it's my remembrance that you didn't know what kind of car seat you had when we were sitting in court last time.
I couldn't remember the name of it, but
Right.
Hard
Okay.
to remember the name of something you don't use.
So, it was that important then. I'm going to caution everybody, from what I've heard today, there's no reason to suspend dad's visitation, to put dad on supervised visitation. I haven't heard anything about that. I'm real concerned. I read about how both mom and dad are at BJ's Cocktail Lounge before the pickup. Why they're both there? I'm shocked. Okay, so why is this happening? She saw, and then she's saying she wasn't there. She saw dad at happy hour at BJ's Cocktail Lounge immediately before collecting the child. What are you guys both doing?
I get there early, so I stopped there and have a Pepsi. The police came, I spoke to the police, I had to wait 75 minutes.
What are you doing at BJ's Cocktail Lounge before pickup?
I wasn't in there. I was driving from the grocery.
So what is this? She saw dad.
Yeah, I was driving from the grocery store, and it's an open lot, and it's just a turn before you get into my neighborhood. His car's parked in there. He's not in there, and it's happy hour time.
Oh, so you didn't see him in BJ's Lounge. You saw his car in the parking lot.
And he's not in the car.
Okay.
And he admits to being in there.
I had a Pepsi.
Okay. Okay.
This is what we're dealing with.
And we
Your
called the
Honor.
cops over this?
Yeah, she did. Procedurally, we have a problem here today, Your Honor, because we have, in our motion, which was, again, because of the order shortening time, I don't know what happened in terms of, we weren't supposed to be here until the 30th on his motion. We filed an opposition to their motion last week and treated it as a reply in support of our motion, because it was my understanding at that time that today was kind of consolidated. I mean, my client is here today based on that motion that we filed first, looking for, he wants makeup time, he wants some temporary sole custody, he wants mom to get some psychological evaluation, which we've been asking for 6-7 months now. He wants her to go to parenting classes. I mean, these are the things that are in our motion, and I feel like we're at a bit of a disadvantage. We filed first, and somehow because of an order shortening time,
Okay.
now we're.
I'm gonna see everybody back on the 30th at 9:30. In the meantime, council, I'm gonna watch the videos.
And Your Honor, can I make a comment before
Yes,
you
go
watch
ahead.
the videos? Is that when mom picks up the child, she has to feed the child immediately because he hasn't been eating with dad. So they get in the car, she breastfeeds, they don't drive while she's breastfeeding. She's breastfeeding, sitting in the car, not moving. Then when she's done breastfeeding, she puts him in the car seat and
The car seat in the trunk. You can watch the video.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out when we see the video, okay? Now, I'm gonna caution everybody again, because I remember I had some real
I feel outstandingly superior because I figured out car seats way, way, way before the child was 9 months old.
concerns about co-sleeping and a lot of other issues about communication with the pediatrician that I was not sure that was going on. I am concerned again today about communication with the pediatrician, okay? I need somebody to clarify those concerns. I would be happy to see on the 30th records from the pediatrician because I am not, I'm unsatisfied with the information I'm getting. I'm really worried. This needs to be getting better, not worse. Let me watch all of those things. And I'm gonna put both motions on for 9:30 on the 30th,
Thank
all
you.
right? Thank you, council, I'll see you then.
In the meantime, Your Honor, it's just status quo.
Status quo.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much.
Do you need an order today?
I don't think so. I'll have a more extensive order certainly on the 30th.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor.
This is a matter of Ravello versus Sangalaza, D 18-572-482C. The parties are present. Counsel, your appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Lytle, 11640, on behalf of Nicholas Ravello, who is present.
Kenneth Robbins, bar number 13572, on behalf of Karen Singleton, who's present.
All right, everybody have a seat. This matter was continued. The courts reviewed the videos. They actually had an opportunity to review them again this morning because they had some additional time. This is Dad's motion, and then Mom has a motion to modify as well. Dad's opposition to Mom's motion. We're all kind of talking about the same thing. I'm going to give you a lot of time today to argue. Counsel, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. You know, and I'm glad that you now had an opportunity to review everything, and I think what this really comes down to is that from the beginning of this case, we've been suggesting that something is terribly wrong in Mom's world.
Counsel, but can I ask you a couple? I'm sorry, I told
Yeah.
you I was going
Go-
to get, and then
go
look
ahead.
at me. With you
ahead.
didn't even get 2 sentences out.
Go ahead.
So I see that you're concerned about her mental health.
Yeah.
Tell me, what leads you to believe that there was because you seem to indicate that there was a drastic change.
Right.
And your concern is that it might be postpartum depression. Tell me more about that abrupt mental health and behavioral change that we're talking about. I reviewed the videos. The courts had some discussions with her, but what don't I know about
Sure.
that would indicate to you or your client that there's something wrong, that there's something
Right.
amiss?
So until approximately 9 months ago, they were a happy couple.
And tell me, how long were they together before the baby?
2 months.
No, before the baby was born, about a year, right?
Oh, yeah.
So about a year of
Okay.
like, they were happy, they were talking about their future together, and marriage, and all these sorts of things that happy couples talk about. Baby's born, and essentially instantaneously, and you saw, I think, in the first motion that we filed in here, all of a sudden, I'm not gonna let you see this baby, your family is crazy, I hate you, I'm gonna ruin your life, like, there's just this switch, right, that gets
I don't know,
flipped.
but sometimes, people don't like each other. That's my
Sure.
business. What am I missing other than perhaps they just started not liking each other?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the timing seems curiously,
Okay.
Connected to, I mean, he was there for the birth of the child. I mean, it's not like there were problems brewing and then they kind of, once the baby was born, they grew. It was like they went from happy couple before the baby to she can't stand him the next day, and wants nothing to do with him and is saying all these hateful things that she had never said to him before. And that pattern has continued basically ever since the child was born. We've had, in this case, I mean, I understand, it's not, at this point, it's kind of difficult, I think, 9 months down the road to say, was this postpartum? I mean, the reality is it probably would have resolved by now, one way or the other anyway. But what we still see is this kind of pathogenic parenting behavior that seems to have started from the day the baby was born. And this entire case, Ms. Sangalaza has kind of been proposing this narrative of like mother knows best, and she's been given the benefit of those doubts over and over and over again. I mean, she didn't know what kind of car seat she had, she didn't know what the doctor was. My client went to parenting classes, because she was concerned that he had no idea how to raise this child. And what we're seeing is what I would call projection. I mean, what we're seeing is that really, mother doesn't know best. We had conversations about co-sleeping. We had, this whole case from the beginning, mother has been given the benefit of all these doubts. Meanwhile, my client has proven time and time again that he's willing to do whatever it takes to be the best dad that he can be, and mom keeps, engaging in these dangerous behaviors. I mean, the fact that she's not utilizing a car seat helps to explain why she didn't understand or didn't know what brand of car seat she was using, because it's apparently just not even in her orbit. And so we have this pattern of, when he's around, she feels like she has to be protective and call the cops and, and do all of these things to paint him as some sort of bad guy. And all he's trying to do is exercise his visitation. And we had months and months and months where this baby never saw his father, where even after this court-ordered visitation, there was interference with that visitation that continues even into recent history. And I just think, like, we've got to get to the bottom of, there's something that switched when this baby was born that is making co-parenting virtually impossible. I mean, I was just looking at, it's been a while since we filed the motion, but I was just looking at the Talking Parent record this morning in the hallway. She hasn't responded to him on Talking Parent the whole month of January. Not once. I mean, to basic sort of questions. I mean, she's just refusing to co-parent. And again, I think it's because, and my client believes, having known her a lot longer and better than any of us else in this room, seems to think that there's something going on here that needs to be addressed. Whatever it is, and that's not, we're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but we got to get to the bottom of it, because what we can see, what we do know, is that the result of whatever's going on with her, psychologically or emotionally, is making it absolutely impossible, not only for her to co-parent, but for her to make smart decisions about how to keep this child safe. And so I think the best way to do that, and we've been asking for months, and again, we've been happy to, to accept the benefit of that doubt for a while, but now we're facing some real safety issues, and I think we have to get to the bottom of what those are, so that these parties can move forward and co-parent and do the things that they're expected to do by this court. So, I mean, I think we've kind of laid it all out. I'll leave it at that. If you have any other specific questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
No, thank you. I'll give you time to respond. Kimball?
Okay, so a couple of inaccuracies in what counsel stated was they were only together for about a month prior to Ms. Sangalaza getting pregnant. At 6 months pregnant, they had broken off the relationship. So he wasn't present at the time. They weren't in a relationship throughout the
So
whole
hold on,
pregnancy.
hold on, let me just say this. Whether or not any of those things are true, let me explain to you why I ask and why it's important to me. Instead of them saying you're a bad person, you're incapable of being a good mom. What they're saying is they think there's something, a behavioral health issue that's going on. Okay? So, that's a temporary issue. So they're suggesting that there's a temporary issue. Not that this is your humanity, not that this is in your DNA, that you just can't be a good mom. Okay? So I don't really care whether it was together 10 months or together 12 months. I don't really care if it was together 6 months or 1 minute. Okay? I was asking counsel those questions because I was trying to get a sense of what was this abruptness? What else gives you concern? What else? Is it, because my worry, just so that I could be totally transparent, is are we capable of being good parents? Is this a temporary issue? And if it is a temporary issue, let's put the brakes on this case and let you get the help you need. Okay? If this isn't a temporary issue, if this is who you are and it's not going to change, well then let's full speed ahead, let's finish it up. This is why I'm asking these questions. So I don't want to fight about whether if it was a minute you were together or 2 minutes or 6 months or 10 months.
But the purpose is that they weren't together for 3 months prior to the baby being
Okay.
born. So to say that she flipped a switch the day that the
She's always been like this.
birth,
Okay,
you
that's
wouldn't know.
no. So
That-
she's always
that-
been like this. Okay.
My argument is that he wouldn't know.
Okay.
Okay, and to say that she's not utilizing a car seat is just completely false. What the video showed that they had provided was that mom was breastfeeding the child in the back seat of the car for a period of time. She gets out of the car, goes sits in the front seat while your sister? Her sister's in the back seat, straps the child into the car seat. She hands the baby to the sister. You can't see the car seat through the video because you can't see into that passenger side through the window. But the baby gets strapped into the car seat. They already have a car seat in the car. So to say, oh, they took the car seat out of the trunk, so that means they're not using one, that's not true.
Okay,
There's
so
a
hold
car
on.
seat in the car.
All right. So let's back up then. You should have told me this at the last hearing. If the infant carrier, the Chico Keep Fit 30 that you're utilizing to go back and forth, is not the car seat you are utilizing, and so you place it in the trunk all of the time, and you have a different car seat in the car, the time to tell me that would have been at the last hearing, all right? For the record, the video is in multiple parts. The first part shows mom put the car seat on the ground, take the baby out, and put the car seat in a hatchback.
Yes.
However, what you can see for sure is that the 2 seats are up. The seats are not down. So there's no way to get from that trunk in there. So the car seat in the trunk is not being utilized. That's what
Not
you can see.
disputed.
All right. The time to tell me that was at the last hearing. So what type of car seat are we utilizing?
Just a Casa, regular Casa.
Regular?
It's not one that snaps in. It's just a car seat that my parents bought, and it's actually made for his weight transition too.
Okay.
What our video showed was him taking the child, and I misspoke at the last hearing, but you can see that it gets snapped in to the car seat, but what you never see is the child actually getting strapped into that car seat. The child is resting in the seat, and the car seat might be strapped into the base, but the child's not strapped into the car seat.
Okay.
There are no straps around the child.
Let me explain something. When I set this rule, do you remember when I set this rule about the changing in the infant seat? Does everybody remember that day? Okay? I am a mother. This ain't my first time with the Chico Keep Fit 30, all right? Not my first time. Okay? The reason why I made that order, Mom, is because I asked you what kind of car seat you were using. The reason is, my idea was you have limited contact. I'm watching on these videos, somebody's holding a baby like a sack of potatoes, throwing them in asleep in a car seat on the ground, and this is not what I imagined. My order was as follows, that the person who had the baby, put him in that car seat, okay? The greatness about that car seat is it has a base, and you can carry the car seat between people. You can put it in different cars, and that base costs about $50, okay? So, Mom, you could be sure that the baby was strapped in accurately. That video I'm referencing, I saw Dad strap him in, saw him pull the straps up, tug on him, do the whole thing. If you were utilizing that car seat as my order was, and remember that I issued that order because, Mom, I need you to listen, okay? I am concerned you are not listening and understanding me. That I based my order because you told me that was the car seat. You didn't remember, but I said, whatever car seat you're using, is it an infant? Is it a 5-strap? Is it this? Is it that? I was asking you all kinds of questions. My order was based on what you were doing. I wouldn't have issued that order if you were not using that car seat. So what the beauty of that order is, the reason I make that order for small infants with parents who can't breathe the same air, is because I want you, Mom, to make sure that kid is in those snaps, that he's secure. And then you hand the infant carrier to the other parent. And the other parent need only plop them in, okay? If I had known we were taking this infant carrier and leaving it in the trunk all the time, and that we were not using it, and that we were taking the baby out of it, and we were putting a sleeping 9-month-old into a car seat in the middle of the street, I would have not issued this order, okay? So I'm going to change my orders today, okay? I'm going to change my orders about car seats. I'm going to change my orders about a lot of things, all right? So I don't want to hear any more fighting about car seats, okay? Clearly my order didn't work because what it allowed us to do, and we changed what we were doing, and we were using different car seats, and we're putting car seats in trunks, is argue about whether or not a baby's in a car seat, okay? And I don't want to argue about that, okay? It's clear to me you both love this little baby, okay? And if I saw this little baby rolling down the street, not in a car seat, me and every other old mother in this town would have called 911, okay? So that's not happening. I'm ordering you to obey the laws of the state of Nevada about child restraints. I don't have to issue a specific order that's like what I call a double dog order. I really mean it. For your kid especially, okay? I tried to problem solve this for you because I have 28,000 cases, okay? Some of them are closed. Some of them have to do with teenagers. A lot of them have to do with little babies. I see this issue coming. I knew this was going to be a problem. That's why I set a specific order. When you don't follow my specific orders, it creates problems. If you had told me you weren't using that car seat, I'd have changed my order, okay? Then I wouldn't have you exchange the infant base if you're not, the infant carrier if you're not even using it. Why would we do that? Doesn't make sense, right? I'm trying to make it easier on you. I'm trying to give you a path to success. I'm trying to give you tools to help you, okay? I don't want to argue about the car seat anymore. Council, let's move on to something else. The other issues about mental health, I think you've discussed, and you said that they don't have any history really together, or their history is limited, and so any representation that there was a change in her personality, he wouldn't have enough information to.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Going back to the feeding, that dad's not feeding the child. And it's been a problem that the child is coming home hungry, the child is, he's feeding formula.
Do we know now what formula our pediatrician recommends? We didn't know that at the last hearing. Do we know that now? Have we called? Have we talked to them? Has there been another appointment?
After the pediatrician call.
I took his for his well checkup, but I didn't know that I didn't talk about it.
So we still don't, is that a no? Do we still not know what formula the pediatrician recommends?
Is there any formula that is okay with that?
I only talk about breastfeeding.
What formula is mom utilizing at home? No formula?
Zero.
Okay. And
Child's
mom's not
have-
able to supply enough milk
Correct.
for the time during dad. So the child needs to utilize formula. Is that, do we
No.
agree on that?
No.
No. Mom's not able to produce enough milk for dad's visits, but we can't agree that we need to supplement with formula.
Right, because the child can eat regular foods.
So dad should not give any formula.
That's
What should
correct.
he give?
What food does he eat?
Anything for his
No,
age.
no.
he's not-
Water.
Oh yeah, he can have water. I
Who
mean,
said that?
The pediatrician.
How much water per day?
We never talked about it. We just talked about if he's eating table foods, he's eating baby foods, then he should be given water to be able to digest it.
Okay. Done.
And mom's told him, don't give him formula.
When-
give him food.
when?
That's through the talking parents.
In January?
What months was that? Through the talking parents.
Ever since the instruction started.
The first
Ever
time
since
that,
what? I'm having difficulty hearing.
the first time that he had fed the baby formula and the baby had breakouts.
When was that?
You know the month?
I'm gonna say around October, November.
I believe November.
Did she say October, November?
It was November.
I mean, when was the baby eating? When was the baby told that they could start solid foods?
4 months.
4 months. And what foods were they to start at 4 months?
He started second foods.
He started with second foods.
So he started with second foods.
That's what the pediatrician told you to do.
Yeah. To get
Which
it.
second foods?
I mean, he
Any?
eats Gerber. He eats beech nut.
Okay. Did the pediatrician say that you should start with certain foods, a certain color of food?
No,
Did the pediatrician tell you any other guidelines about food?
No, he said if he
Zero.
No, he said if he can start him, eating his baby food, that's good. So I started him with baby oatmeal, baby cereal. I started him with the at his age at the time he was 6 months. So second foods. He took everything fine, and now he's beyond that. He has teeth, so he chews. He has food for his age. And I've told Dad that many times. I've told him, you need to give him food. You need to give him food. He doesn't respond to me.
You think that Dad's not feeding him at all?
Absolutely, because when I pick up the baby, he's hungry. I've taken him to the emergency room because he couldn't lift his head. And so when I took him there, they were like, we don't really see what's wrong, but they checked him and they said, he's hungry, you need to feed him. So I had to feed him in the emergency room over there. When my baby.
How often does he eat?
He eats 3 meals a day, snacks in between.
So about how many hours does he eat? Every 2 hours?
No, I feed him breakfast around 8 in the morning. He has lunch around noon. He's gonna have a bunch of snacks until 5 o'clock dinner.
Every 2 hours? At a minimum, he's eating something?
Around 2 hours.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Counselor?
Yeah. He says in the talking parents, after she tells him, don't give him formula unless you go to the pediatrician, she tells him, when you have the child, you can go to the pediatrician and find out what he can take or not take. And his answer is, if you don't give me breast milk, I'm giving him formula or he's going to starve. And
Right.
after that, she believes that he just decided to starve the child.
Do you really believe that?
That's what she believes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, friends. I know that the pediatrician didn't tell you that about eating. All right. Let me be real clear. And I am certain that they recommend a certain type of formula. There are certain types of formula that are approved and recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics. There are certain that are not. If your child has specific allergies or reaction, those are things that have to be dealt with. Formula is not the only problem or issue for a baby who develops eczema. Okay, eczema is very common in young infants. It is especially common during the fall when we start to turn on our heaters because their skin is sensitive and that heater can dry out that skin. The doctor's first going to tell you to limit their baths, right? Because the eczema is exaggerated by baths. Make those baths short.
That's
right?
why I don't
They're
bathe.
going to tell you to put a humidifier in their room. They're going to tell you all this other stuff. Okay? Eczema does not equal formula problem. Okay? Mom, you have been extraordinarily uncooperative in giving information. If there is a specific formula, I've asked you twice. Okay? What formula does the pediatrician want you to give? You absolutely refuse to do it. Absolutely refuse. I asked this question. It was an issue for me last time. You've been to the pediatrician since then, and I got nothing else. Okay? You gotta ask. If you want something to happen, name it. I've had you name every single thing. What car seat are we using, Mom? What's the schedule? Name me the formula. Do this. What are you doing? What food are you giving? We're taking your lead here. You're not being a good leader, okay? Because you're not giving
No.
the troops the information, okay? Babies eat quite often. Babies are hungry a lot. You know what else they do a lot? Soil their diapers. Why? That's what babies do all the time, okay? Just because the baby's hungry when the baby gets to you doesn't mean that he's starving him. You want me to believe that the dad is not feeding the baby on purpose? He's withholding food, water, formula from the baby on purpose. To spite you? To be mean to the baby? That doesn't make any kind of sense. Okay? None. It is developmentally appropriate for a baby to eat multiple times per day.
Yes.
And you know, parents, you know, every parent knows. Sometimes that baby won't eat a lot for breakfast for a couple of days. Doesn't eat a lot. And then suddenly they're ravenous. And they eat more in one day than they've eaten in weeks. Right? That's developmentally appropriate for an infant, for a toddler, for a young kid. Why? Their bodies need it. Okay? It is surprising when you're a new parent, right? The first time this happens, oh, the baby's not eating. And then a week later, that baby's, has 3 bowls of oatmeal, and you think, where did that 1-year-old put all that oatmeal? Okay? This is normal parent stuff. You're spending a lot of time blaming each other over some silly stuff that you're not communicating over, right? We're just not communicating. The car seat. You're not even using that car seat. That's why you're putting it in the trunk. Maybe you should have told somebody. Could have told him. Could have told him. He could have told me at the last hearing, right? We continued this so I could watch a video of you putting a car seat in the back seat. If you had another car seat in there, that would have been the time to tell me, so that we didn't have to come back. Okay? I've been concerned about some of your parenting choices. Okay, and you know that. Co-sleeping. You told me your pediatrician told you to co-sleep. Okay? You did. And I told you I was real concerned about it. You know how many kids died in Clark County last year from co-sleeping deaths? I do. A lot. It's not appropriate. Okay? I asked you to speak to your pediatrician about it. I'm certain that your pediatrician told you not to do it anymore. I was so certain that I asked you for the name of your pediatrician because I want it on the record of who said that out loud to who. Okay? And they can deal with the Metropolitan Police Department about their advice. Okay? So in this case, there's to be no more co-sleeping. All right? Because I'm not concerned that you're making really informed decisions about this baby. Okay? Mom, you got to name a formula. All right? If you're saying no formula, absolutely zero formula, and you are not producing enough milk to supplement that, because I'm getting ready to change the custody visitation schedule, okay? Then we're going to be in a problem, okay? So we need to talk about that and think about that. I've given you an opportunity to think about it. I mean, because formula is something that is all in your motion and your opposition. Mom is struggling to produce milk and supplements milk with formula. Dad refused to purchase the child formula or feeds the child the wrong formula. But now you're telling me that there is no formula and that formula is not appropriate anymore, that we're not utilizing formula anymore, just water. I'm concerned about that. That doesn't make sense. And then you had 2 opportunities to ask you went so far to take him to the quick care of the emergency room because you thought the baby was having a reaction to the formula and say that it's the wrong formula, but you can't tell me what the right formula is. I'm giving you the opportunity to claim it. Tell me what it is. And that'll be the order. Okay? I'm worried that you haven't responded to Talking Parents in a month. I would expect, look, I gotta tell you something. You know I'm a mom. I had more babies than goodness, all right? I'll tell you one thing. You put that baby in the car seat and you go somewhere, especially if they're in their Sunday best, they're going to have a dirty diaper, right? It's Murphy's Law. Stuff happens, okay? There are going to be dirty diapers. to think that dad's not changing the diaper, I'm going to issue an order that this baby's diaper is changed every 2 hours, whether the baby needs it or not. Okay? That's how it's going to be. I expect that you're going to change that baby's diaper before you put them in the car seat. But I cannot order your baby not to have a dirty diaper while they're in the car, coming to you. Okay? That's developmentally appropriate. This kid's going to, sometimes you got kids that just throw up in the car and they're just going to throw up all the time. Hopefully you don't have that. But we can't stop that. That's what's going to happen. Okay? There's a lot of blame here. And I'm not really getting what's really behind it. I'm trying to get to the bottom line. Calling the cops, going to the emergency room all the time, but then not giving the information. That's what I'm worried about. Council, I think these parties are exchanging too frequently for the child's age. I know we have a calendar call coming up in March, an evidentiary hearing. What schedule makes sense for them from now until the calendar call and evidentiary hearing, Council? I'm just concerned that it's just too frequent. And if breast milk is no longer an option and the baby needs water instead, and there's no formula supplement, do we really need to have these parties seeing each other this often? This schedule was crafted for a baby who was a small infant that was breastfeeding, and we gave great deference to mom's concerns and requests. But now I think this back and forth so frequent puts these two in the same space just too often, and is not, I think it's making the situation worse at this point. It's not helping. So is there a schedule that you think works? Is mom's working as a server? What is her schedule like?
Mom works Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights.
Okay. So what, based on that, Council, what type of schedule works? What would be your request?
Fozzie just ordered biscuits and gravy, not realizing nothing's open around him that sells biscuits and gravy at this time of the morning, except for Bojangles, who is currently not accepting orders right now. So the reason why Fozzie asked for biscuits and gravy today was because he knew I can't order biscuits and gravy for him today. He's going to have to wait another hour or two. Bill, that was a great stream last night. I'm so glad you did it. Everybody go watch American Court's stream from last night. It was awesome.
Gunner, he right now he's not having overnights, so I don't know how we're gonna do less frequent visitations if he's not having overnights.
Okay, well, I'm getting
So
ready.
I mean, she's
I'm getting ready to change that. I think it's time. I'm real concerned about what's going on. There's too much back and forth. She's no longer, even for the day she can't, breast milk is not being provided. And so that was our concern before, right? That he have that breast milk and have that the visitation schedule be operated under that provision. These people are just seeing each other way too much. I don't want you to go to the police all the time. I don't want you to be in the emergency room. I don't want all this. Okay, this is tough. This is a tough schedule. It's unrealistic that this would be a permanent schedule. This is a schedule for a very, very small baby. Julian's 9 months now. In April, he's going to be a year old. You know, this is not a permanent schedule, and I think everybody knew that. This was to get us through these tender years, tender months, really, and get us to a point where we gotta get him on a schedule. And I told you from the beginning, this is a joint physical custody case.
But he is still breastfeeding, and she would like to continue to breastfeed.
Okay. Anything else? So what schedule would work?
She's still requesting that Dad had daytimes, weekends.
Daytimes on the weekend? Okay. Council, what do you think is appropriate at this juncture?
You know, I think probably at this point, we need to be looking at like a, you know, like a 3-3-1 or a 2-2-3 something, or they're alternating weekends. Weekends are gonna be tricky for both of them. She just said that's when she works. My client's a professional poker player, so the weekends are an important time for him to make his living as well. But, you know, I think we need to either be alternating, you know, a 1 day a week.
The Fozzie that ordered biscuits and gravy when I can't get biscuits and gravy? That Fozzie? Fozzie's in trouble when the stream's over. You watch. It's going to be headless Fozzie tomorrow.
Splitting the remainder of the week, or maybe alternating the weekend, something along those lines.
Council? Let me explain. I have a few options. There's only one way to divide 7 days, right? So I could go week on, week off. That means every Friday at a certain time, or every whatever day we pick, we do the exchange. The baby's with you for 1 week, the baby's with you for 1 week. And we just go and we just do that. Or what council suggested, I think based on the age of this child, and that a week is a very long time to be away from your child, a 2-2-3, which means this: one parent would have every Monday and Tuesday, one parent would have every Wednesday, Thursday, and they would alternate Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That works for a lot of people who have children of this age, but it requires you to be it requires you to have more connection, more opportunity to see each other, those exchanges. I don't like it for bigger children. Older children, I usually don't ever order that. I would order a week on, week off if I'm concerned about your ability to be in the same space. So, if council, do you want to weigh in?
Mom would prefer if it was just Dad had every Friday to Sunday or Monday, rather than switch off to every 2 days or 2-3 days.
Okay, so I try to take advantage and maximize both of your work schedules and your time with the baby. My concern is that if, I would always give you whatever day off you had. I would want to make sure that you had. What you're requesting is that Dad always have the time that you're working and he's working.
Well, if he's saying he's a professional poker player, he can do that at any time, 24 hours.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, poker. I was a professional poker player for 10 years. You can play poker at any time, any day, any hour of the day. I was a professional poker player. The tournaments are not at weekend nights. The tournaments last every day, all day. There's tournaments at every single hour of the day.
That's facts.
Okay.
Every day of the year.
Anything else? All right. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a 2-2-3 schedule. Mom's gonna have every Monday and Tuesday. Dad's gonna have every Wednesday and Thursday. We're gonna alternate Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's talk about the pickup and drop off procedure and how we're gonna do that pickup and drop off and the times. I know that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be a little bit easier to name the pickup and drop off time. Is there a time that works better for the baby's schedule at this stage? What I'm saying is I don't want to set you up for failure. If that baby goes down for a nap
Okay, Fozzie, listen. I got you some biscuits and gravy after the diner opens, which is not yet. I also threw in something that I think you'll like as well.
day at 2 p.m., I don't want to pick up and drop off at 2:45. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to work with the schedule, okay? Do you understand that? So is there a time that works better with his schedule for the pickup and drop off?
On what days are?
Let's talk about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday first. So those exchanges,
I looked and couldn't find any. I did look.
what we really need to consider is the Tuesday to Wednesday.
7 a.m.
No, I got him 3 huge fat sausages.
7 a.m.
On Wednesday?
Wednesday morning. And then it would be 7 a.m. on Monday morning. And 7 a.m. on the Friday. So let me give you an example, right? So week 1, I think I said mom has Monday and Tuesday. They would exchange Wednesday at 7 a.m. Dad would have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, exchange Monday at 7 a.m. The following week, mom would have Monday and Tuesday. Dad would have Wednesday, Thursday, and then mom would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So what happens is sometimes you have one week you have a longer visit, the next week you have a shorter visit, because that weekend kind of bookends both of. When you write it out and say it, you'll see.
And,
So-
sorry, Mom's saying 6 o'clock is better because she.
I said I love
6
that
a.m.
6 a.m.
before when you told me about it way before.
Okay,
I
and
love
then
One
doesn't eat breakfast
Piece.
till 8. Okay.
I can't wait to see that.
6 a.m.
Seems pretty early.
It doesn't, that seems strange. It's the,
What time does she go to school, council? What time is her class? I thought we went over this last time. Her school schedule. What's her school schedule? Receiving party to pick
8
up.
o'clock, she has to be at school.
8 a.m. you have a class. Okay. What do you do for childcare? Is there someone that's caring for your child during that time? Are you taking them to daycare? What is the
Yeah, my family watches them.
at your house?
Mhm.
So can we still do the pickup at 8 a.m. and your family could help assist with that exchange?
I'm sorry, I'd rather be there.
Okay.
we'd rather her not there. And, I mean, again, because of just the history of this case, it seems to be,
There's already an order that they not talk, but there's no reason for her not to be able to be there.
Okay, so in many cases, understand the spectrum of what I do. I eliminate your ability to talk. I eliminate your ability to be there. I eliminate it being at the location of your choice. So, right now, you have this many decisions to make about that pickup and drop off. If they become, if we keep having problems, they get like this, okay? And then you both won't be there. I'll make third parties be there, okay? At a location of my choosing, at a time of my choosing, okay? So I'm trying to work, okay? Is this your schedule for just this semester? Because it's different than your schedule last year, right? Last semester when we talked before. So just this semester? And then in the summer it will be different again? Okay. And you remind me, is it at you're going to UNLV? Okay. And so you've got to be at UNLV probably before 8, right? To get to class at 8, right? Yeah. Okay. So you prefer it at 6? Are you leaving the house at 6? What are you doing at? When are you leaving?
Pickup will be at 6.
Why do you need to pick up at 6 if you go to school at 8? Be at school at 8.
Okay, no traffic. Okay, so.
What time do you leave the house in the morning?
I leave around 7:30.
You leave your house at 7:30 to get your class at UNLV at 8.
My
But you
class is at 8:30, but parking and then.
okay? So it's right. Okay, so you need to be there at 8. So you're leaving at 7:30 to be there at 8. Okay, can we do the pickup at 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay, 7 a.m. Okay.
receiving parents picking up.
Receiving parent pickup, whether you're there or not, is not really concerning to me. You can certainly have your third party designate be there. Now let's talk about car seats for a minute, okay? So you understand why I made that order. Part of the reason is what I don't want is some tearful exchange of somebody holding this infant baby and handing it over, okay? The act of handing over the baby, that physical closeness that's required by that, I'm trying to prevent, okay? So that's why I made the order about the infancy. You strap them in, you get them secure, you hand the infancy, okay? Right? So it gives us a little bit of we're not physically as close as we need to be. Okay, I'm not happy with how that baby was put in that seat in the middle of the street. I'm not happy about all that stuff. Okay, so tell me, Mom, you're using a Costco convertible seat with a 5-point harness, correct? And is it forward facing or backward facing?
Rear facing.
Okay, all right.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
He's saying that the car seat that they've been, the one that they were exchanging, he's now outgrown that car seat.
He has. Okay, so
That's because it's been 9 months, 10 months, 11 months. Yeah, they go through a whole bunch of different car seats, and soon he won't be in the ones where you can just pick up, and he'll be in a car seat. Okay, this case, Rebecca, this case is awesome. I hate stopping it, but we've already gone well over 2 hours. We will pick this back up tomorrow. I have a redirect on, so when this ends, we're going to pop right into OJ. So, guys, thank you so much for coming out for this case with me. I really appreciate it. Fozzie, your biscuits and eggs will be there whenever something opens in Texas, because apparently everything's just closed right now. Thank you so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.